Okay, I'm gonna need some oxygen after this episode because I'm still like just the last few minutes of it. I was not expecting that at the end, but and in the preview, yeah, it was intense. It, just no words other than no other word than intense. That is the only thing I can think of to say about this episode. Okay, so we start out with Catherine and Jim, kind of a low key scene. Catherine has looked out the window and she saw Wyatt talking to the DA. She tells Jim to look out. Can she and ask him if he can see who Wyatt's talking to? And she says that it's the DA. And of course they come to the conclusion that Wyatt is spilling the tea about the hit and run and the cover up, all that stuff. So they have their conversation and they're basically saying they want to go their separate ways. Catherine is blaming him for screwing up the kids, and she wants out, but then again she's saying she really wants to stay to make him miserable. But and she tells him she knows about the $7.4 million that was taken out of the account because the bank sent her an email, and she says that'll be your settlement and you'll leave with your life. That's all you'll leave with. Catherine just don't care anymore, and Jim doesn't care anymore because he didn't even try to run down stairs to stop Wyatt from telling the truth. So that's where that went. And let me think, where did the next scene go to? Oh yeah, I think we end up seeing. I'm probably going out of order, and I'm probably gonna go all over the place, but I'm gonna try to get everything in. So we see Candace out looking at houses, and they play this song, do this montage of what Candace has gone through to get this money to move on up. How she just basically got money the wrong way to move on up, but nonetheless she got it and she's on her way up. She's looking at these houses, and she tells this lady, well, I want to look at this other house, because the guy that's selling the house had two houses. He had one for his parents, he had one for himself, because he wanted to be close to his parents and take care of them. So his parents, now they've died, and so he's put both the houses up on the market. And Candace wants to see the other one because it's supposed to be more traditional, and that's what her brother Benny likes. So, which I'm pretty sure she's probably thinking a little bit about Hannah too, but she's not gonna say that because she's got to be tough and have that hard exterior about her when it comes to Hannah. So she looks at the other house, and then she says, I'll take it. And then she says, I'll take both these houses and the furnishing. And I'm like, Candace, you're blowing through this money so quick. That money's not going to last you that long. But okay. So I'm guessing she's got a plan. Some kind of plan going on. Cause later on, Benny, he's out with his friend, and that they're at this auction for the towing. For the towing company. And so somebody's on the phone making some pretty big bids. And I'm assuming that was Candace making those big bids. She had a proxy there bidding for her with a phone, and I'm pretty sure it was her putting in those big bids. But we'll find out maybe in the finale, maybe next season. So from there, we see David, and he goes to find Jeffrey. He goes to Jeffrey's apartment. It's, of course, a big mess. Stuff thrown all over the place, and it's clear that something has gone down. So he calls Veronica. And of course she plays like she don't know what's going on. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know where Jeffrey is. Which she doesn't know where Jeffrey is, but she knows who she unleashed on Jeffrey. And David's like, don't you play with me. Don't play with me, because I can be a son of a you-know-what. And Veronica's like, I can be a crazy woman. And so they're both they both have in their corners battle lines drawn. They're both pieces of work that are willing to go at each other at any cost. And so Veronica, she gives Quincy a call and she says, "Where's my son? What did you do to him? Did you hurt him?" And she's showing some concern here for Jeffrey. And Quincy's like, "Oh, now you're concerned." And he's saying the next time he's angry because Jeffrey gave him the wrong hotel, and he said, "The next time I'm gonna kill your son." And Veronica says, "Well, I'll send you back to prison." And Quincy threatens her and Jeffrey. It was, yeah, that was a scary scene. I was like, wow, Quincy is insane. But Veronica's crazy too, because I think that she will take out Quincy if she has to. And out of the two, I think Veronica would win when it comes to taking somebody out, because I think she could get rid of Quincy very quickly if she had to. So, what else? Ooh, everything's just, I'm trying to get everything together. And so Jeffrey, he goes to the hospital, and he doesn't want to say what happened, and the doctor's like, "Well, there was a gang fight tonight, and I have to report any assaults to the police." And Jeffrey's not wanting to say anything. He's just playing very coy, like, "I'm not saying a word. My lips are sealed." So he leaves out of the hospital without saying anything. The guy asks him if he wants him to call his mother or his father, and Jeffrey, of course, says no. And you know he's not going to say,
Well, you can
"Call
have
my
some of that
mother."
pizza if you want it.
You know he's not going to say, "Call my mother," because that's just not something that would make sense at this point, because it's his mother that got him into this mess, that unleashed a murderer on him. And so, let's see. And so, David goes back to the hotel, and he's trying to find out. He sits down with Maggie and Landon for a bit, and they're trying to get him to talk about numbers of the election, and he didn't care about that. So he finally gets up and he goes upstairs and he goes to Candace's room, and he's trying to find out if she knows where Jeffrey is. And she says no, and she's still trying to tell him, "Your wife's crazy. She did something to your son." And there's a knock at the door, and Candace starts freaking out because she thinks it's Quincy, and she's trying to check out, saying, "Well, have my things sent to a different address. I need to get out of here." And of course, you'd expect her to freak out because Quincy's a crazy person, and as we've seen from the dialogue he had tonight, he demonstrated that he's a crazy person. And so David opens the door, and it's Jeffrey. And Jeffrey comes in, and he tells the whole truth, that Veronica sent Quincy after him to beat him up in order to find Candace. And David, he finally gets it once Jeffrey says it. And Candace is like, "See what kind of person your wife is." And so David, he storms out of there, and I think he wants to go find Veronica. So he goes back downstairs, and then Jeffrey and Candace have a scene, and Jeffrey says, "Well, I didn't tell Quincy where you're at. I told him you were at a hotel, but I gave him the wrong one." So he's a good friend to Candace, because he didn't give her up despite Quincy beating him up very badly. And so from there, let me try to get this right. From there, I think David goes and he sees, he goes back down. He's back downstairs, and he wants Maggie to get him his car, because and then oh, that's right, there was that little scene with Hannah and Michael and all that, and Hannah being the holy roller and all that. That was just kind of filler to me. It didn't really advance the plot any, so that one I'm not really going to dwell on, because the good part was when David was about to leave to go find Veronica, and he doesn't have to do it because Landon says your wife is here. So she comes in and she's angry because she thinks that David sent the DA after her, and we all know that it was Wyatt that spilled the tea to the DA because he told his parents that he spilled everything, and his parents were like, you know what, we don't care. And he looked like he was expecting a reaction, but he didn't get a reaction. So Veronica's blaming David for calling the DA, and David's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm glad they're looking for the car, because he just is basically saying because you're crazy. And he's saying you unleashed a murderer on our son, and Veronica's at the point where she's not even gonna lie about it. She says, yes, I did. I told him to beat his A. And she's just like, I wanted him to beat all that gayness out of him. And she said, if I had the strength to do it, I would have done it myself. And David's just like, he's done with her. He calls her, I think it was something else with her, but he called her a simple bee. And that just set her off, and she slapped him. And then she goes into this screed about, if you ever call me that again, I'm going to ruin your whole life. And David doesn't back down. He adds something else to it. He calls her a delusional simple bee. And that just set off the fireworks. Veronica just went DEFCON 9. Off the rail. She starts throwing glasses, bottles, just tearing up the whole bar. Everybody goes out running. And she's talking about, I worked and helped you get through school and all this stuff. And she just set everything off. And before that, she had thrown a big glass of water in Maggie's face. And that was part of the reason she was so angry, because she's wondering why Maggie is always so close to David. And so she tears up this whole bar, and David's looking at her like, really? And so he goes on, he leaves, and then the security comes in and tells her, ma'am, you gotta get out of here. And she's like, don't you touch me. And she walks out of there like she hasn't done anything at all. She walks out there like she hasn't done anything at all, and she doesn't even care at this point. She's probably going down anyway, because the DA knows that she has that car, and they searched her house for it, had a search warrant. She tried to, tangle with the DA, but the DA, yeah, she's kind of a match for Veronica. She was not there for Veronica's grandstanding. She said the search warrant is all legit and everything, and we can look for anything related to the car, which would, of course, mean something like a deed or anything that would show where the car is or how to track it down. So that's probably why Veronica is like, I don't care. And let me think, have I missed anything? I don't think I missed anything relevant. So next week is the season finale. And so I don't know why David decided to go home, but he goes home and he's in the bed sleep, and we see Veronica with this big can of gasoline and a cigarette, and she's pouring all this gasoline around David's bed, and so I guess she's about to light him on fire. So I guess that'll be the cliffhanger for the season finale. And I'm also thinking that Quincy's gonna come to Hannah's house, because Hannah's begging Benny not to go out the house or something, and I think Quincy is coming for the Young family. So it's going to be a very intense season finale next week. The preview is a big indication of that, and there's some other stuff in the preview that I can't remember, but I know that it's going to be a big deal, and it looks like it's going to be more intense than the previous season finales. So that is my review. Rate and comment, and thank you for watching.